I will send the files to you.
Okay, is this Ed?
This is Ed.
All right, Ed, thanks.
I think also they got a website called eliminatemortgage.com or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, the only thing I'm trying to do, I told Reed, this is the guy, the agent in Raleigh, you know, Freedom News is going to get involved. I think either me, Louis, Doug, somebody needs to coordinate all of our people getting involved.
Yeah.
So we can kind of police it and see what happens.
Right. Yeah.
So I
live
mean, I'd be happy
right
to
down
do
the road from these guys, and I talk to Reed, you know, quite often, at least once or twice a week.
Okay.
Me and him been meeting the last couple of Saturdays, and I've been talking with him about stuff on bonds and stuff like that. And he's also, we've had some discussions about the income tax, too.
Okay. He's actually a state correctional officer.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd want to go into the big house if he's doing something that he shouldn't be.
Right. Well, when I met with him on Saturday, two other guys, or Reed and two other guys that he with, Bernard is not like it, but these guys are big fellas, you know. You don't want to be on their bad list.
Ed?
Yeah.
This is Bill in South Carolina. I've
Yeah.
read their website, and it did say that your mortgage had to be up to date. Do you know if that is true, or is there a way around that, I wonder?
That is not necessary. Mine is not. I actually have a foreclosure hearing on the 14th. There's some confusion because Reed himself actually has two program projects that he's doing. When he's an agent for U.S. Capital, the lawyers in Atlanta, they kind of take them as they come. Supposedly, Gilbert, one of the guys that's down there, can stop a foreclosure in 72 hours. Reed is now doing debt validation himself, and to do that process, you have to have your mortgage current. So I've told them that the only thing I think we would be interested in is working with the guys, the lawyers, who do it all in one shot. What Reed does, he's working with some folks who simply don't have the $1,500.
Right.
So he gets your mortgage discharged. You then have to turn around, you know, do a refi of say 80%, and then you can then go down to the U.S. Capital people and pay them their fee, and they'll discharge it and still get you the 65. But that's one option you've got. To me, I think this is only going to last probably through the end of 2004 when the new election cycle comes along. These congressmen are going to be looking for big contributions from the bankers. The bankers are going to want this fixed.
Hey, Ed, this is Don in Baltimore. What was the website for that again?
It is eliminatingmortgages.net.
Okay, great.
Okay, the other thing we found out this week is a lady refinanced her house. Well, it's actually a condo in Florida. She's been around the block a time or two. When she got to the closing, there were some new documents she'd never seen in any closing before. She asked the lawyer what they were all about, and he said, well, some people have figured out a loophole to get out of their mortgages. This closes the loophole. So anybody that's signing a new mortgage, you probably want to get an advanced look at all your paperwork and see what you're signing. Because they are trying to fix it with covenants and, other means.
So if you go to cover the back end of your of the fee with a new mortgage, you could be in trouble.
Well, Reed says he's got a guy that he actually uses to refi.
Yeah.
So obviously that must be a okay contract. Otherwise he would be screwed himself. He wouldn't be able to get his money on the back end. His 15%. But so anyway, this is a highly dynamic thing. But I think if anybody wanted to get on this bandwagon, if you don't do it in the next 9 to 12 months, I don't think you're going to do it. My opinion, no real facts there.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you saying that they eliminate the mortgage plus you do 65% of your appraised value?
Correct.
Yeah, you get your deed of trust back, or you get the title back.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
Not
almost,
a bad deal, huh?
and if you have a credit card and you have $1,500 limit on it, it'd be worth doing it.
Yeah, I'd like to say, as of about a week ago they were 55-0, and they're racking them up pretty quick.
Yeah, Ed says he's also working on a program to only charge the $1,500 up front and have everything complete within 45 days.
Oh, it's and I have a back end?
Right.
Who's Reed's working on that too?
Yeah.
Wow.
And how he found out about the debt validation was through me.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
And who is this?
I mean,
But if
I don't
you
know
don't
about
want me
Reed
sharing
personally.
that with him, let me know.
Yeah, who is this that was talking?
My name is Mike in Raleigh.
Mike, okay. You're a member of our group then, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
great.
in the E-group.
Okay,
So,
great.
Mike
I've been down in Columbia, and I know Ed pretty good.
Oh, great.
I'm sure he could vouch for me somewhat.
Okay.
Reed's standalone program for the validation is still pretty new. I think he's only done one so far for a lady in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
And he isn't doing it with an attorney by his side.
Uh-huh.
So if anybody was in, trouble, I definitely suggest you come up with the $1,500 for U.S. Capital and kind of go the safe route.
Right.
For now until he gets more notches on his gun belt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I learned about all this stuff, I only had like $1,800 left on my mortgage for my timeshare, and this new job that I've got, I do pretty well. So covering that $1,800 was no big deal. So I just had it over with, but I was trying to find out a way, and well, now that I got it paid off, how do I get the value back on it? But Bernard says you can't do that on the timeshare.
Okay.
Ed and Mike, I got a quick question. I heard something similar to this a few months back that only applied to deed of trust states and not mortgage states.
U.S. Capital says they'll do either. That's part of the application. You just tell them what kind of state you're in.
Sounds good.
And like I say, we've got 4. We're all countrywide, believe it or not. We've got 4 countrywide mortgages going in over the next week.
Ed, that's who I'm with.
Well, you might want to make it number 5. I really dislike those people.
Me too.
So I'm going to have fun getting rid of my mortgage with them. Let me put it nicely.
This is Jonathan. I will send you an email tonight.
Okay.
I hoped you were listening, Jonathan.
In fact, I had a very unpleasant conversation with Countrywide yesterday, and I had another one today. So, yes, it'll probably continue for the next month or so. But I was very Christian with them and contained myself. Let's put it that way.
Well, I got a long story myself, but we'll talk that offline maybe one day.
Okay. Well, like I say, if you don't mind going the statutory route, you can swallow your exemption pride for a little bit and get 65%. It's 65%, and then you actually have to give up 15% of that 65% as the agency fee for Reed, just in terms of full disclosure. I can't think of a better deal so far.
I'll give them 25% if they get it done.
What? Who's going to be greedy here,
Hey, all right.
So this is Joyce. In the process of having sent a bond already. It's featuring, of course, is denied, but not the mortgage company yet. So I wonder if it's possible if we can learn what procedure that is to that they're using in order to get that 65%.
Well, here's one challenge with that is you do sign a non-disclosure, a non-circumvent covenant with them. So in terms of living in honor, I'm not going to share anything I get with you other than the success. This is, for all intents and purposes, proprietary intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
So I will respect that, as I would hope most people would, especially if they sign the agreement. So I have a feeling that, the attorney part of this is important because, we've all had the problem of trying to do something on our own, and the first thing they always say is, go hire an attorney. Well, in this case, they have attorneys to do all the most important paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure it would work for us individually anyway. Reed's stuff, where he's doing the debt validation, he's doing without an attorney. And certainly that information is widely disseminated on the web. But I also know a lot of people going down that road, and they are getting blown through by clerks of court, judges, attorneys, trustees, everybody.
Right, because
So not for the faint of heart.
I think they probably failed to convert the judge, from a minister to a judge by getting him under law.
Well, obviously, but a lawyer doesn't do that either.
Yeah, right.
Somehow they have decided they know how to get this done. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
But like I say, I will let everybody know how the process goes. And if anybody wants to know more, just send me an email and I'll send you the information back.
And this is Ed Wallace?
Yes.
What is your email address?
It is up in the file section.
In the database.
It's in the database. Thank you, Lewis.
Albert in Tucson?
Hey, Albert.
Hey, Albert, got the tapes. Thank you.
Cool.
I'm getting them copied now. I've already had 2 people send emails looking for them.
Great. That was
And just as an announcement, it's shipping and handling included back to you, the 2 tapes. I just set it at $20. If anybody wants to send me $20, I'll send out 2 tapes, postage and handling. If I get enough of them and have anything left over, I'll send it to Albert. So they're going to run me about, I think he's gone up to $5 a tape, so $10 for the tapes, and then I'll put postage and handling in that too.
That's to Ed?
That's to Ed.
Okay.
What is it that you're talking about?
Albert, why don't you tell him?
The tapes are on the administrative process by Mr. Herb Crawford and Wade Starr. And it explains basically the New Beginnings course, how to do the administrative process.
Okay, good.
There are tapes on VHS tapes, VHS video.
Now, I think the people that are looking at that are also looking at our files, course 5 from New Beginnings. The administrative process that he has in there is a little bit different than the private administrative process we have up in our group, which is a little streamlined. It's not doing all the notary stuff that.
Yeah, I need to modify that before anybody else tries to use it, please.
Oh, okay. All right.
Did you all
Okay.
hear what happened
One more
to Ruth
explanation
Hamilton up here?
Hmm?
Did you all hear what happened to Ruth Hamilton up here?
No.
She used the bond to discharge the mortgage. Called them up and said, I'm bringing over a bond to settle my debt. So they said, okay. She went over there. They supposedly discharged it. And then a couple days later, she called up and asked when she's going to receive her deed. And then they said, well, you just settled the debt. It's going to take a couple weeks of processing to send you your deed. Within 2 weeks after that, I think, they sent her a notice that they're going to foreclose on her property. And I don't know if you got any of you know Ruth or not up here. She's the lady with the birds.
Is she in our group?
No, I think she's been down. She was down in Columbia.
Okay.
With us.
Well, did she file a property protection filing?
I don't know all the details. You'll have to talk to John or Dave about it.
Yeah.
Because they know more about it than I do.
Doug, I understand that she just filed a Rice McLeod bond, amended bond.
Yeah. Right.
And they did accept it, and apparently the attorney was working with her in the process. He wanted it to work.
Yeah.
And
They must have hit a snag somewhere.
Well, that's what I think. When it gets to the bank, that's why we need to get the controller or the CEO under a contract to let us use the exemption. Because when we sign a promissory note, the money's coming from our exemption.
Right.
And that my chart makes perfectly clear. As I look at that more and more, I just realize how, that's where the money's coming from. When you look at the Federal Reserve and the Treasury and what happened with HCR 192, it just makes perfectly logical accounting sense. The bookkeeping entries now, basically what happens.
So they're trying to send this bond to the bank instead of the Treasury?
No, the bank is the one who gives us the credit. The bank got the Federal Reserve got all the credit when we gave it the stuff to the Treasury.
Right.
The Treasury's not blocking us.
Okay.
It's the Federal Reserve system.
I think Lewis is right. What we really need to do is liquidate a bank so we can own the bank and then tell everybody to send their bonds into our bank and we'll process it.
Good idea.
Exactly
Well,
right.
you laugh, but I mean, that's our only option, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with that idea?
I think it's a great idea. Oh, great.
Yeah.
And I think Wade's already gone after a couple banks, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's evicted, I know one.
Yeah. So why can't we take it over and run it for our own benefit?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the
Where are you at,
ultimate goal of processing center?
Well, that would be a processing center, that's for sure.
Sure would.
I know we talked about that before, but I mean, pretty much be creating a bank that processes the bonds, right?
Well, the processing center still has to take it to the bank.
Okay.
And that's where our hang-up is going to be. And we're going to have to liquidate a couple of them and take one over and start doing it ourselves.
Gee, y'all want to come to Wisconsin and liquidate ours? The one for close on our farm, that'd be fine. Okay.
Yeah, I want to go back
Well, I mean, you have that option to initiate it yourself, and of course we strongly recommend you do that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, I mean, the bank, owned by, the evil people that they are not going to go willingly into the night and allow us to do this.
Right.
What about a small, privately owned state bank?
Well, I think Lewis would agree with me that if it's not a Fed bank, I don't think they can do it.
Well, they have to have a TT&L department.
Right.
And every bank has to have a TT&L department to pay their own taxes on people's deposits. So, a small bank may work.
Okay.
I heard some people that are in with a guy in Texas,
Right?
Bryce McLeod, that Rice has got a bank now that he's using the bonds through. I just heard that last night. I don't know if there's any validity to it.
I heard that about 2 days ago that somebody in the group had taken over a bank. And they were trying it.
Okay.
Don't know for sure.
But how much would it cost to take over a bank? I mean, if you had...
Costs you about 60 days.
I mean, I'm talking about like in millions or whatever.
It doesn't take any of those. All you have to do is get a good enough contract against them and liquidate them. Put them into involuntary bankruptcy and then take them over.
Use their money.
Wow, maybe we could go do that little small thing.
Yeah.
One step at a time, I guess.
Yeah. We may wind up learning all kinds of things we didn't think we wanted to know before we're done with this.
Yeah.
Well, so
But we're going to make it work.
could we be sending our bonds to Rice's bank or whoever's bank?
I doubt it.
No, that won't work?
Until we know that it actually works, because I don't know what happened down there. All I heard was rumors.
Mm-hmm.
Do a
But,
quick claim on land patent, kick them off your property.
Yeah. But going back for just a minute, the reason Elvick has always been so successful with all of the stuff that he's done is because his brother owns a bank. He runs it all through his brother's bank.
Who is this that you're talking about?
Roger Elvick,
Okay.
the guy that started all of this mess. For most practical purposes, anyway.
why wouldn't his brother be willing to run all the water stuff through there? Where's his bank located?
Nobody asked him.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody's asked him.
And will he profit from it?
Well, what?
I mean, he would have the bank would have to profit from running a lot of them.
He's a banker, isn't he?
I was going to say, he's a banker. He'll make money.
Hello, this is Clint.
Hi there.
Hey, Clint, this is Doug.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Welcome to our call. It's been a long time since we've heard from you.
Yes, I've got a new schedule now, so I thought, hey, I tried the conference call tonight. I'll jump on and see what's going on.
How many were on when you called in?
It's at 49.
That's good. Great.
Got a good group.
Yeah, we've got a really...
A little brief introduction here. Let people know what's going on in the Omaha, Nebraska area.
Sure, yeah, go ahead. We're waiting for Wade Starr to come on the phone. We
All right.
must have got our timing crossed or something, or maybe something happened and he just couldn't make the call. So
Okay, well,
we'll try to reschedule him for next Thursday then. Okay. In the meantime, everybody get your questions ready for Wade. Review course 5, I think is what he said, and I forget what else he said.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, because we want to learn how to liquidate and go through and liquidate. And I've got a bunch of questions here that I'd like to ask him too. So maybe I'll post these questions up in my re-invitation out to him so you get an idea what kind of questions I've got for him anyway. But Clint and Tom Schaff and I and Dale will all, met sort of at the same time on Tom's conference call, and we've sort of gone our separate ways. But Clint's got a big program going in the Omaha area. So Clint, why don't you just give a little rundown what you're doing?
well, I'm going to have a seminar, which is an introduction to bank freedom on August 2nd at the Westside Community Center in Omaha, Nebraska. That's 108th and Grover. And at the time that Doug came on, at the time that I can say come on board, because a lot of people did not, they understood a little bit. It was like I did when I understood that there was fraud, and I knew that we were being defrauded, but I didn't even know exactly how. And I challenged the banks before I had ever met Tom. But I went to court and I lost, and then I got hooked up with Tom, and thereafter I won and haven't lost since. And I've helped several people. I stopped counting at $250,000 for the people that I've helped. And we are going to have this seminar on Saturday, and I would expect to have a lot more people canceling their credit cards, car loans, and mortgages in the how should I say, Doug, the conventional way.
Yeah.
Because Doug and I have worked on some projects, one with using a tendered offer under UCC. And that didn't work, but I understand some other people have set it up a little different, and I have been being successful at it. But at the time that I first met Tom, very few people were involved. And I told Tom, I said, well, we need some reinforcements here. So I got all the people that I knew, and I know Tom had a lot of his people praying for other people to come in, and Doug come in, and you folks know how Doug is. He is quite a trooper, and he got in there and he dug into the UCC and did a tremendous amount of research. Well, we have found that going against the bankers in court is rather futile unless you have some legal expertise. And we've got that at the seminar. There's a fellow that does legal research. That's what I'm going to say, but he was actually trained as an attorney, refused to take the oath because his pastor asked him, do you understand what's going to happen, what this oath is all about? He didn't know. Well, the pastor explained to him what the lawyer's oath was, and he decided that God didn't want him to do that. So he went into engineering, had a very good job, substantial amount of income, over $100,000 back in the early 80s, and that was a lot of money. And the IRS seized his house for $1,100 or $1,200, something just really ridiculous. And it kind of made him mad. Well, he went to court at noon. he asked the IRS agent, got on the stand, and he simply asked him, can you show me a law that gives you jurisdiction? Can you show me the law that requires me to file? Can you show me the law that makes me the person liable? And the IRS agent could not answer any of those, as they can't. There is no answer for that because there is no law. But you don't tell them that. You never tell them that. You always ask. You say, can you please show me the law? And they can't. And he won. He went back that afternoon. The case had already been sealed, but he had several witnesses there. And for the last 27 years, this man has been helping the underdog, and he wins. He's got his ducks in a row, and he knows what he's doing. And I know that the focus on this group is using UCC in the redemption process, and I have some understanding in that area as well. I have not studied it in depth as you guys have. But I do hope to have time eventually to be able to do that, so that we can have, it's good to have several approaches on the bank issue. And I say more power to you. And I've been, once in a while I get a chance to look at the emails on the group, kind of keep up with what you guys are doing. And hey, more power to you. Go to town, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, we're trying.
Well, there's this individual also. I was going to have him he's like working 20, 22 hours a day.
Yeah.
To help people in the last couple of weeks because he's got so many different cases going that he's helping people on. But eventually when things settle down a little bit, he's got a lot of knowledge on the UCC and the redemption process as well. Perhaps I can get him hooked up with you, Doug, and the rest of the folks that are helping you.
Yeah, maybe we can get him on the call one night. If he'd be willing.
How do we get a hold of
Tell me where the seminar is, please.
Yeah.
Seminar is in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
108 and Grover. It's the West Side Community Center. It starts at 10 a.m. Just a small cost, a donation of $10 for an individual or $15 per couple to cover reproduction costs and costs of renting the room.
And the date is what, sir?
August 2nd.
Will you have tapes available?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, do you have tapes that...
Would you have tapes available for those of us who can't walk to that far?
I'm planning on recording it by videotape. We can probably work something out there where we can get you a copy of it, for sure.
That would work.
And could you share an email or a website for yourself, or would that be okay?
Yeah.
Certainly. You can use, it's T as in Tom, R as in Roger, U as in Umbrella, L as in Larry, O as in Oscar. Wait a minute, that's my last name. Wait, TRUCLANT. It's trueclint@yahoo.com. I'm listed on the group site.
Oh, okay. What was your first name?
My name is Clint Truelove, and I go by TrueClint on the groups there on both Freedom News and Freedom News Bank.
Okay, thank you.
Clint, you don't have a website for yourself yet, do you?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm so busy with so many other irons in the fire
that
it's hard to keep up, so I just put in temporarily contact Doug Staley.
Yeah. Well,
I gave your phone number.
Okay, that's fine.
Just call Doug. He's got plenty of time.
Okay, sure. What's one more call?
Yeah, I said we were on I remember the last. It wasn't the last conference call that we were on together, but Tom was telling the other folks on the conference call when Tom was still having conference calls.
Yeah.
Doug has come into this, and boy, what a trooper, and he's telling about some of the research he did. And Doug, you do some good work, my friend.
No, thank you for that.
I guess we can use the term contemporary method to discharge the loans is becoming more effective. As a matter of fact, I should tell you this. This gentleman that I'm working with, I've had my wins, but he is going to town. He's got 12 so far, but he just told me yesterday, well, we're going to have to change that. Very shortly it will be 15, 3 more. And he's got like several $1 million lawsuits against the attorneys, and I think he's going to be putting some attorneys out of business.
Super.
So.
And what's his method? What's he doing?
Well, let's see.
Is he going into court and winning?
Well,
he
has a approach that, you know, whatever works. It's like you understand that, like your collection agencies, and I've seen some notes on here about an arbitrator. Well, this goes back to Tom. You can just tell the arbitrator, send him a note or a little message. You know, notice, you know, if you participate in this, that the credit card company or the mortgage company is involved in fraud, and you will be named as, you know, liable in this suit if you proceed. And they don't want any part of that. You don't, you know, I seen they wanted a court case side or something. It was something I read on one of the emails, but you don't need that. You just tell the arbitrator, hey, look, you know, you try and arbitrate this thing. You are going to become party to a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for what these people have damaged me. And they don't want any part of it. And you don't have to have it. These not arbitrators paid by the bank anyway. He's not ever gonna rule in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Clint, going back to Omaha, I have 108th and Grover at 10 a.m. What facility?
It is a Westside Community Center. It sits off to the west of Grover, and you'll see it in there. Looks like a school. It's not.
And you expect us to go all day?
No. It's only going to be for 2 hours.
Oh, 2 hours. Okay.
It's an introduction to bank freedom. See, so many people do not understand what the bankers have done to us. That people, I'm spending a lot of time just explaining the issue. Well, I'm going to get them into the seminar and say, well, you know, you're not going to walk out of here with a full understanding, but enough of an understanding to be dangerous. And that's what we want. We want people to challenge the banks. If, for you guys on and Doug's group here, hey, as many as are challenging on the UCC issue with the process that you're using, and the people that are using the conventional method of just, hey, take them to court and beat them in court, use the system that exists. And I know it's really tough in Nebraska, because I'll tell you, among attorneys, the Nebraska is known as being one of the worst states for having judges that don't go by the law. But I know you're probably familiar with the Cornforth material and so forth.
Yeah.
Cornforth and so forth, ho-ho. Okay. Well, the Cornforth material on voiding judgments and so forth, that's going on as well here. And across the river there in Iowa as well.
Whereabouts in Iowa?
Well, Council Bluffs is right across the river.
Yes.
And
I moved over to Wisconsin from Iowa. That's where.
By the way, there is a Cornforth seminar August 9th and 10th in Columbia.
Yeah, he's got some dynamite material. Don't agree with everything that he says, but the guy is right on.
Yeah, this is Randy in Iowa, and I'm using his material right now for void judgments.
Okay.
How far along are you?
It just started. I just sent the certified mailings out a week ago.
Where are you at in Iowa, Randy?
Hour west of Dubuque.
Oh, really? I'm an hour from Dubuque. Well, you're on the site under the members then?
No, this is my first call that I got on. A friend of mine told me about it.
Okay, well, welcome to the call tonight.
Thank you.
That Columbia is in what state?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
Does anybody have an opinion on when you create a bond, the type of paper and graphics that you use? Can you just print out the graphics, or one I did, the first one I did last weekend was on some certificate paper that I had. The real thick stuff that you can print certificates on.
Well, it really doesn't matter. It looks nice if it's on parchment or something, but it's not a requirement.
To for the debtor to take it more seriously, make it look authentic and everything.
Well, sometimes
it is authentic, but
there's an advantage to maybe printing it and not printing it on what do you call those?
Certificate paper.
Certificate paper, and also those things from the
Versacheck stock.
Versacheck, yes. You could print them on that too. And we're working on the wording for that yet. And it's the bonded bill of exchange is also an alternative too, even though there's a lot of static about that right now. But it's still it's the idea is that the exemption is there. We just want to access it. Whatever we could write it on toilet paper, really.
The problem is just getting the bank to process it through to the IRS, which is where it has to go to.
I was in Bob and Laszlo's class for the Bill of Exchange up here.
I'm sorry.
North Carolina. And it's right first started learning about all this stuff. And I just seen too many things happening to people using the Bill of Exchange, so it'd be better to start out with bond.
Sure, right.
They are being very successful down in Texas using this process on the bonds. A friend of mine called me from down there and he said, hey, we've broken the barrier on the credit cards. What they're doing is they're using the bonds to discharge the debt and then getting another credit card and maxing that one out and canceling that one.
And that's just Texas?
Yeah, well, it's probably being used all over, but it's probably very similar to what you folks are doing. And Doug, I'll see if I can't get you in touch with him.
Sure, yeah, that'd be great.
You're talking about rice?
Well, they're using Rice McLeod's material.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people down there are having success and some aren't. It's a mixed bag.
Right.
It's running about 40% success from my survey.
Okay.
Do you know if this is like people using the same process or,
Well, that I don't know because I have concentrated on using the original research materials and kind of expanding on that. And a lot of it, of course, is we lack knowledge, both in the UCC arena. I've got a lot of study to do there, but all of this takes a tremendous amount of study. What is interesting is that so many people are finding this enough, that it's valuable enough to do it, and I think
people are desperate around the country.
And that's what I was going for. Yes, that people don't understand. Okay, well, hey, I spent $100 on groceries 10 years ago, and I could have had a bunch. Now I have $100 worth of groceries in a few sacks.
What do you mean? A few? It's one. Where are you shopping? I gotta change stores.
Yeah, stop shopping at Sam's.
That's what Lindbergh said in 1913. He said, we have simply passed a law that will create inflation.
I just heard today within the next 5 years, IBM plans to ship 50,000 jobs offshore.
Yeah.
Well, when you put a bunch of lawyers in charge in Washington, and to clarify that statement, that the administration might change and they might change from Democrat to Republican or vice versa, but it's the same staff stays there, and they're all lawyers. They write the laws. They tax the corporations to where they're going offshore and to other countries. And it's like, hey, what we need to do is
their headquarters offshore. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to see the effect of lawyers, look at Japan. Lawyers were illegal there until the mid-1980s. And they made them legal, and Japan has been on the edge of total economic collapse ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, but who really got Japan in more trouble, Louis? Bankers or lawyers? I think it's a pretty neck-and-neck race.
I know, but at least they were holding them at bay for a while.
Well, I I don't think the bankers could have done what they've done without the lawyers.
No, I mean, if you look at what got this country in trouble, you know, it was all for the bankers. Now, they used lawyers to get the right language in place, but the lawyers are the perpetrators of the evil.
I'd like to ask a question, and Clint might be able to give some new input, although it might be based on UCC. And it's just about the tendered, you mentioned that Doug worked on the tendered offers based on UCC.
3-603.
3-603.
Right.
And today Bruce had a question on the message board. It was based on the arbitrators that were the third-party debt collectors.
Right.
And he had submitted a bond. Now, in most state statutes, the correlating UCC, under tender of payment, it states that if it's rejected, it's still discharged.
That is correct. Unless they state the reason for the discharge, but they never do.
State the reason for the dishonor.
State the reason for the dishonor. Okay, so that's just one point, and then I want to make one more point and then open it up to discussion. I recall, and with the volumes, I cannot put my finger on it, but it seems also, I think it's UCC, I will not swear to that if you have asked for it back, which he had done, and they do not return it, that also indicates discharge. So it seems to me he has 2 points on his favor of, never mind the third party he can eliminate in the manner you just suggested. But I just wonder if there isn't some wording we can do.
Well, here, let me tell you this. One of the cases that was just recently won, the fellow was 82 years old, and he walked into the court, and Ed shared his research with him. He walked in there, and he held out in his right hand a big pile of money, and he said, "Your Honor, here is the money." He held out his left hand, and he says, "I want to see a contract signed by both parties." And the judge looked at the bank attorney and said, "Do you have a contract?" He said, "No."
Wow.
And the case dismissed. So what I was thinking, Doug, was why can't you use the redemption process and the UCC approach as well as in tandem with, hey, I'm I'm willing to pay off this debt in the same species of money that was deposited to fund the check or similar instrument that funded the loan.
Well,
okay, it's a tendered offer.
Yeah, in fact, we are, and that's how we get them in breach of contract and remove the trustee.
All right.
That's the Detroit process, basically. But
well, the tender performance that we just put up there also does the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it is offer of performance.
Okay, another thing you might look at. I sent you this a long time ago. Well, not that long ago. It's been about a year. About if you look in your state statutes under what do they call it? Think. The money of account of the state of South Carolina, the state of Michigan, the state of Alaska, is the dollar, the cent, and the mill. Are you guys familiar with that?
No.
Okay, in your state, every state has this. Money of account of the state of is the dollar, cent, and mill. You go to the gas station, it's 159.999 or 149.999. Is there a mill on a Federal Reserve note? No. It has to be a gold or silver coin to get a mill out of it. Well, if that's not the money of account, you go and you file, Your Honor, they say that I owe this credit card company $4,000. I'm ready to pay, but I need to know what kind of money this is, because the money of account of the state of whatever is the dollar, cent, and mill, and I'm confused because there are no dollars, there are no mills on a Federal Reserve note, and I'll put that up. I'll send that into the group on the original that was done out in California on that, and then you can look in your do a little research in your law library on your statutes, that might prove to be helpful as well. I have not had time to pursue that, and that's one of those things I put on the back burner.
Well, we try not to do any arguments. We kind of keep that argument down to just the basics. They didn't honor our instrument. And
right, I suppose that would cloud the issue if you're using, like the bonds and so forth. And
yeah, we know that there's fraud involved. It's just, and that's not the point anymore. We just want to discharge. We want to use our exemption for everything, and we have the ability and the credit to discharge any public debt because they owe us, and we can just do an offset. And we're just trying to nail them down that they can't wiggle out of that.
Well,
I think I know what you're getting at, Clint. I had seemed to save something at one time, some federal rule that says that the states can't force us to use FRNs to pay our debts.
Right, because
I'm trying to bring that up right now.
The states also require that the taxes be paid in gold or silver coin.
Right.
And you can really trip them up with that one.
Okay, I remember reading that same thing about just recently, and I'm not sure where it was at, but how they cannot, determine what you're going to pay it in. Or in other words, this is supposed to be like the backing for, they refuse the bond. So what was that someone was just talking about?
I don't know. I'm not sure on that. I'm thinking of the case that was up in Michigan where the fellow got divorced from his wife, and she had taken his credit card and charged JCPenney $1,800 or whatever, and he kept nailing the judge and saying, well, you owe this money. He said, well, okay. The guy said, well, fine, I owe the money, but you got to tell me what species of money is it? Is it in coffee? The judge finally just threw up his pen. Well, it's coffee beans. So he discharged the debt by actually sending the JCPenney or Sears or whoever it was coffee beans, and he said one bean to the dollar, and denominated it and sent them. And to this day, that guy uses coffee beans to discharge his debt because the judge knew that he really messed up because he just defined what money was. And that case, matter of fact, I'll see if I can. That's in my file somewhere. I'll see if I can dig that up and send that to you, Doug.
Oh.
If I can remember to do that. I've got a good memory. It just doesn't last too long anymore.
You're right. Okay, great. Well,
can we verify that? He's literally still using coffee beans?
Yeah, to this day, the guy, I talked to somebody who knew about it, he said, yeah, the guy, because he has the case, it was him that had the case, and it'd be very easy for him to say, well, this was my case, and this is what the judge said, so he's discharging all of his debts with coffee beans, at least for the date that I knew about it. That was been a couple of years ago, or maybe it wasn't that long, I can't remember anymore.
So he has a priority claim, but if we went to Michigan, if we had a copy...
If you went to Michigan and you had that case...
Well, or a copy of it.
Yeah, it's just like any precedent that's set here in Nebraska. We're hoping for a case on the IRS. You folks are probably familiar with, like, if when they give notice of lien, they're supposed to personally take that to the recorder's office and swear by affidavit that it's true and correct, and to make it a valid lien, not a notice of lien, but a real lien for them to be able for the IRS to be able to take their property. Well, they've been doing this illegally in every state, and the county recorder, they're suing the county recorder for something like $2 million or something like that for entering these false liens.
You can also use 40 USC, that's 255. You might want to look that up.
Let me write that down. 40 USC?
40 USCS 255.
Got it. Thank you.
Show them where they have jurisdiction.
Yes.
You just challenge them to show me where the jurisdiction of the federal government resides in this matter. The property is in a state, is it not?
Right.
Well, per that statute, they have to establish jurisdiction before they can clean it. And they have no way to establish
Right.
it.
They've only got jurisdiction in the 10-mile square district of Columbia, Guam, Samoa, Puerto Rico, all the possessions. And I don't know if anybody on here will remember the Save a, or knows of the Save a Patriot Fellowship.
Sure, right. I used to be a member.
So did I, until I found out John Kottmeyer is a liar. He files his tax return every year, and he's got millions of dollars over in Switzerland that he got people to send him money. He is a crook.
Wow.
And there was a guy who was asleep in their little auditorium. And I talked to this guy personally because, I did what they suggested, and that was file your international thing or your U.S. and all this. But I don't think it's going to make any difference because it can't show jurisdiction. But the point is, he was taking a little nap, and he had him and the people that was working with John Kottmeyer were up on the stage there, and he took him in, he was pulling him off to the side and telling him, he says, don't ever tell these people that all they have to do is challenge jurisdiction or we're out of business. So, it's like so many of these guys that end up as, the gurus, they lead you down the primrose path and then you get in trouble and they are gone. They just want the money. Some of these people are as bad or worse than the bankers.
Yeah, Clint, I wanted to mention that Rice also talks about on his latest tape. I know you haven't had a chance to listen to his tapes, but he mentioned that the state of Tennessee, the state of Wisconsin, all these areas, he's saying, refer to just the grounds that are there where the state buildings are. In other words, if you're out in Abbeville County or some of these outlying parts of the state, you're not really part of that. It doesn't refer to that area at all. It refers to just those particular grounds that the state of such and such corporation owns physically.
Right. That's correct. That way Ed Rivera beat the IRS in California because they did not have jurisdiction.
That's amazing.
Because they were saying, well, you're in the state of so-and-so. And he says, no, I'm not. I'm in the county of such and such on my private property.
Have you heard of Mike Stone? He does land patent seminars.
No.
Okay, I'll send you a tape. But he was saying, and I think I put it up. I think maybe it was Lewis. I think you had that email there, and I said, well, is this why do you use autograph instead of signature? Because a signature can be transferred from document to another document, like your driver's license or your bank, your account on your bank. Signature can be transferred, but an autograph cannot. This is what Mike Stone was saying, and he's had people. There's a guy out in California that is one of the people that worked with him, one of his researchers on her, saying he's very, very well credentialed. And I'm not sure if this came from him, but that sounds right.
Well, Rice teaches to never autograph anything because you give your birth right away when you do.
An autograph gives you birth right away?
Yep.
I don't understand that.
Somebody explain that, please. Explain the difference between an autograph and a signature.
Well, when people go up to movie stars, what are they asking for? Are they asking for their signature or are they asking for their autograph?
They ask for their autograph.
Right. Why?
What's the difference, though?
Because an autograph is a piece of that person. A signature is just a scribble on the paper.
It's like personal property?
It is personal property. So you never give your autograph away. Unless you really want to.
It's like you never give your name away. You can use a particular. You're not going to give your name away.
Right.
Like when they say give me your name, you don't want to do that.
Sounds like copyright to me.
Yep.
Well, is the difference that an autograph is on a blank sheet of paper and a signature is on a document?
No.
Well, I don't get what the difference is.
Well, let me see if I can dig my Black's dictionary out here and tell you.
No, this Mike Stone was advocating that if you do sign anything, that you put underneath it not an accommodation, which is meaning that you're not the straw man. Now he said that is actually a misnomer. The straw man is someone that has paid money to go into court to lie. And it's actually evidently the wording, and we know words mean things, and words are important. He was saying that a signature can be transferred, but an autograph cannot. In other words, if you put underneath it where it says signature, you scratch it off and put autograph, they can't transfer that name from one document to another. That was my understanding of what he was saying.
How do you mean transfer it?
Like, okay, you have a signature card at the bank.
Can I interrupt? I want to tell you what Black says. Autograph, one's handwriting, written with one's own hand.
Okay.
And I'll go to the next one.
Well, your Blacks is better than mine because 7th it isn't in there.
Yeah, I have 6.
Well, the 6 is downstairs. I didn't have time to go get it.
I've got a 3rd edition that says one's handwriting.
Well, I was going to throw something up for Clint's, if it could be helpful to you. You probably heard people saying we can't cite the UCC directly. We have to cite the individual state code that represents it.
Yes.
Well, I got good news for you. You can cite it.
All right.
You just cite House Resolution 5338, which was enacted into Public Law 88-243, December the 30th, 1963.
All right. Thank you very much.
Can you repeat that, please?
Are you ready for a signature?
No, we're still working on the UCC at the moment. Somebody
Can you
wanted
post
me to
that up
repeat
for
it.
us?
Huh?
Can you post that up?
Yeah, I could post that up. But I'll repeat it for somebody that wanted it repeated. It's House Resolution 5338, enacted as Public Law 88-243, December the 30th, 1963. It was enacted as Subtitle 1 of Title 28 of the District of Columbia Code, but it is public law. It's 77 Statute 630.
Now, where can someone go to look that up? Print it out.
You can
You gotta find
Search on the web.
It's on the web?
Findlaw.com.
Findlaw.com.
Okay, I have signature, and that it does say what I was thinking. Signature, this is Black's 6. A signature of the act of putting one's name at the end of an instrument to attest its validity. A signature may be written in by hand, printed, stamped, typewritten, engraved, photographed, or cut from one instrument and attached to another.
That's what he means by transferred.
Right. And a signature lithographed on an instrument by a party is sufficient for the purpose of signing it. It being immaterial is what kind of instrument a signature is made. And whatever mark, symbol, or device one may choose to employ as representative of himself is sufficient. But it is attaching to a document, whereas an autograph is on a blank piece of paper, you know. Thank you.
Another interesting thing I found out the other day, I was got to a site where you could punch up the names of companies to find their stock acronyms, you know, find out their stock symbols and stuff. And I typed up the state of North Carolina, and sure enough, they had a stock symbol. And I typed in most of the other states too. They all had stock symbols too. And it said the name of, you know, for the name of that stock symbol, state of North Carolina, and state of South Carolina.
Do they have you folks familiar with the CAFR, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report?
Yeah.
Sure.
Walter Burian, I guess he's having some trouble. His website, he said, was going to be going down. I didn't check to see. But evidently the powers that be were real unhappy. He was divulging the fact that every state has got millions, if not billions. The state of Nebraska has $11 billion in reserves. And I heard a program on the radio where local leader of We the People, not connected to the national one group, but he was on there. He was saying, well, sure, corporations do this as a matter of their business, but this is a government. They have the power to tax. What are they doing with billions of dollars? $3 billion of that dollars, $3 billion of those dollars in Nebraska's CAFR is liquid, which means they don't have to take 1 penny in taxes for the next 3 years. And yet, what are they doing in there? They want to raise taxes. Just raise the property taxes.
There's another site you can go to. It's called CAFRman.com.
That's the one.
CAFRMAN.
Yeah,
is that the one you're talking about?
That's the one that I was talking about. I understand he's having a lot of difficulty. And a lot of people didn't know he was having difficulty.
Well, I got, actually, through our group, thank you for whoever did that, we got an early heads up about his difficulty, and I got it on Rumor Mill News, and Raylan has duplicated his website. It's at different agents have their own website on the home site, so when you go to Ray's, everything that was on his website has been duplicated. I am getting emails just ad hoc from him lately. But I would think he could, get income by just going around and doing seminars. The thing about the CAFR, I was going to say, the thing about the CAFR that we see in the redemption process